Sprite Castle. Sprite Castle. Sprite Castle.
Mr. Rob O'Hara.
Sprite Castle.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sprite Castle. On today's show, I'm going to be playing Galaga. Actually, I'm going to be playing two versions of Galaga. One is an actual version of Galaga. The other one is a clone of Galaga for the Commodore, known as Galaxy. Galaga is a very, very popular arcade game. It may be one of the most popular arcade games. That's up there with Donkey Kong and Miss Pac-Man. Everywhere you go, you see Galaga. I was at the store the other day. I saw Galaga. We went to S&B Burgers, local burger place. They had a Galaga machine. My kids played Galaga there. So everywhere you go, I mean, Galaga is still popular. It's as popular today as it was back in the day. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, one thing that I have not revealed yet on Sprite Castle is that I am actually playing these through emulation. Most people probably figure that out based on the capture here. So I'm going to run through the menu here, which I haven't done yet on the show, but I have two different versions of Galaga to load. So let's go ahead and load up, you see here, the first version of Galaga. This version has a little menu system here. So we will load up Galaga. Now what you will notice is that this version of Galaga looks identical to the arcade version. So let's go ahead and get this loaded up. Takes just a second here. I may have to introduce loading time like I do on You Don't Know Flack here on Sprite Castle as well. I can also, I could flip over to the turbo mode if I needed to, but this version is actually pretty small. So again, here we are with the basically arcade clone of Galaga. This doesn't look very much like the arcade version of Galaga. Well, surely the graphics here are going to get better. So I'm going to go to number of players 1. I'm going to tell it I have a joystick. And what do we have here? What we have here is actually, I have mixed opinions about this version of Galaga, to be honest with you. If you are a fan of Galaga, you'll notice that the patterns that these ships are coming in, the directions that they're coming, the way that they're flying, is actually very true to Galaga. What is not true to Galaga here is obviously the graphics. These are done with the normal Commodore keyboard graphics that you see. So very, very rudimentary. This is obviously a very early game. I believe this is a 82. Oh, well, how looking now? Not going to be able to get my little Galaga ship captured here. But yeah, I believe this is a 82 release. So very, very early Commodore 64 release. I will have to say, I mean, I have to give this game credit where credit is due. It is very faithful to the original as far as the patterns, the stages, the scoring, how you notice now that we're on level 2 and they will each, the incoming wave, they will drop their bullets, but not as many bullets as they will in later waves. So this game is as accurate as a basic version of Galaga can be. I'm going to try to get my ship captured here, just not because I plan on doing great high score here at the bonus round, but I just want you to be able to see that. Show that that's also programmed into this version as well. But yeah, so this is Galaga. I don't know that this is a officially licensed version of it. Oh, I guess you got to be faster than that. You got to. And look, going to the corner, like I always do in the arcade version of Galaga, still kills me. In the Commodore version as well. So yeah, like I said, the gameplay is actually pretty good. But if you want to play this very long, you would have to get over the rudimentary graphics. I mean, that's really the only way to describe them. And to be honest with you, I guess what's most disappointing is that, well, maybe with so few people here left, I don't know that he's going to try and capture me. So looks like I will be going into the bonus level with one ship. Again, if you're familiar with Galaga and you watch the challenging stage here, you will see that it is essentially identical to how the challenge stage goes on the actual version of Galaga. Not identical, but very, very similar. Very, very similar. So yeah, you would have to get over the game's graphics, like I said. But as far as gameplay, I mean, it's a fun game. And the most disappointing thing is that the Commodore 64 was known, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, it was, as far as 8-bit computers, it was the best for graphics and sound and playing, games. So to come out with a version of Galaga that looks and sounds like this, I mean, even the gameplay is good, but the quality of the graphics definitely leave a little bit to be desired. So let's go ahead and skip to our next game here, which is called Galaxy. Now, Galaxy was released a year later. I believe it's a 1983 release. So we're going to go here, and I will go pick up Galaxy just so you could see that. Presented by Ass. Who knew that? Not me. Anyway, we're going to have fun. There was a lot of fun back in the Commodore days. We're still going to go with one player, and like the other one has joystick control. So what you'll see here is something that looks a little bit more... Oops, I've got the joystick in the wrong port. Helpful hint if you are if you do a lot of playing in WinVice, if you have a real Commodore 64 or had a real Commodore 64, you know that games sometimes wanted a joystick in port 1 and sometimes game wanted a joystick in port 2. Which either you had two joysticks, which most people had two joysticks, of course, or you were constantly switching your joystick between port 1 and port 2. So on WinVice, if you ever run into that, Alt-J swaps your joystick between port 1 and port 2. So as you play more and more games with WinVice, you may find yourself, you don't have to go through the menu system to do that. You can just hit Alt-J to swap your joystick back and forth. I will do the same thing I did on the other one here, and I'll try to get a ship captured before I go to the bonus stage. So as you can see, still not arcade quality, not what we would expect from later Commodore 64 releases, but for an early release, it's not bad. Like I said, this is 83, so it's a year past the last release. And looks like I've messed up again here. So, too bad for me. I will be going once again into the bonus stage solo, just as I am on this show. All by myself. I almost broke into song. I almost broke into all by myself. That would be a completely different podcast. Again, you'll notice the patterns look surprisingly similar to the last version of Galaga I was playing. And you can see I'm doing just about as well. I had, on my Commodore, I had a joystick that had auto fire, and that sure would have come in handy on this version of Galaga. So anyway, Galaxy, like I said, is another well-known Galaga clone. It is fairly true in gameplay to the arcade version of Galaga. Graphics are still, I mean, you're still looking at single-colored sprites. So the graphic quality is not, you just have a plain background instead of, I'm doing amazingly good, and I'm so glad I'm recording this because I would have never made that through that board of Galaga. Anyway, it's, it is what it is. There are lots and lots and lots of good space shooters available for the Commodore 64. I don't know that these are two of them, but this one's fun to play. So they're both fun to play, but this one gets a little bit closer to the arcade original when it comes to graphics. Still not 100%, but it doesn't seem like like implementing the Starfield in the background would have been that difficult to do, but maybe it was. I don't know. So anyway, this has been Galaga and Galaxy, two space shoot 'em ups for the Commodore 64. If you like this episode, be sure to check out SpriteCastle.com. You can subscribe to the RSS feed there, and you'll be notified when new shows are posted. All the posts are going straight to YouTube, so I suppose if you just wanted to subscribe to the YouTube channel, you could do that as well. If you like retro podcasts or tubecasts in general, be sure to go check out throwbacknetwork.net. We are building an army of retro podcasts. So if you like Ferg's Atari 2600 game-by-game podcast, if you like the Intellivisionaries, if you like retro movies, Doug McCoy is releasing, I think he does 3 podcasts a week that pertain to retro movies. There's so much good stuff going on over there. So be sure to go check out throwbacknetwork.net. And you can get your retro podcast feed there. I am going to quit talking now and try to get my new high score on Galaga.